Hey folks, Matt Easton here, Scholar Gladiatore. How to defend Winterfell from the army of the dead that are coming, the Whites and the White Walkers. It's quite simple actually, and this is what I expect to see on Game of Thrones tonight. And that is quite simply, they're gonna keep behind the walls, okay? Don't go out, there's no point sending soldiers outside. These enemies that they're fighting are not coming with siege engines as far as we know. Yes, they have a dragon, I'll come to that in a minute. They're not coming with siege engines, they are not good at climbing, they're not good at digging, they are brainless automatons, or most of them are anyway, except for the White Walkers obviously. And there's only a limited number of White Walkers, and it's mostly the Whites in terms of the volume, so stay behind the walls, reinforce the gate. Moreover, I would say for the purposes of this exercise, pretty much build up behind the gate. Earth, wood, stone, whatever they can get hold of. So basically make the gates unopenable, okay? The other major weakness, of course, is the crypts. Lots of you will be thinking about the crypts. The crypts have dead bodies in them, which may or may not feature, but we don't want any openings from underneath, so seal those up, completely barricade those and everything else, so seal those up. Don't put people underground, very, very silly. Okay, put them in the base of the towers, that kind of stuff. So we've dealt with the majority of the army of the dead. Now, how are we going to have our army equipped in Winterfell? Well, quite simply, we're going to have a majority of archers, okay? Archers with their dragon glass or obsidian arrows, and we're going to have lots and lots of archers on the walls, but we're also going to have lots of archers down in the castle as well, because they can shoot volleys over the walls that will land onto the army of dead, but importantly, they can defend from the dragon. Now, yes, of course, the dragon can breathe fire, I would say, fire, the kind of the dead version of it. However, there's not an awful lot we can do about that apart from shoot the dragon, okay? The dragon's very vulnerable at this point, as far as we know, to dragon glass arrows, because whilst it is a dragon and it is sort of armoured, nevertheless, dragon glass and these kind of dead creatures, presumably this applies to the dragon as well, don't mix very well, so the dragon glass hopefully more effective against the dragon. Obviously any siege engines like ballistas or any other kind of things that we can shoot larger things, sort of essentially spear size objects at the dragon would be a good idea, but you know, what are we going to do against that dragon? We have of course got our own two dragons. I'm going to leave them aside for now, okay? So imagine that those dragons are maybe patrolling around or being held a bit like cavalry would be in a battle. They're held off to the wings, out of sight, so we can call them in as and when needed. Daenerys absolutely needs some freaking armour. Daenerys, stop riding around on dragons without any armour on. Stick some armour on. As has been noted, one rogue arrow, and that's Daenerys dead. We need Daenerys to control at least one and really both of the dragons, okay? So we've got our pikemen there if they need to be engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Pikes, long pikes with obsidian dragon glass tips, brilliant weapons against Whites and White Walkers. And a fair number of people with shields as well, and as commenters on my channel have noted, on those shields you can get some pitch or tar and embed lots of nice dragon glass spikes all over the front of those shields. Just the very act of pushing forwards with the shields will have obviously a very potent effect on the army of the dead. But archers, it's all about the archers, whether it's the dragon, the enemy dragon you're dealing with, whether it's the White Walkers, including the White Walker on the dragon incidentally, because he's vulnerable to those arrows, or the army of the dead. We just need to stay in the walls and pour. They should have been making ridiculous, huge mountains of arrows. And just shoot. And anybody, civilians who are inside Winterfell, who for some reason don't have a bow or can't shoot a bow, just bits of dragon glass. Think about a stone falling on you from the height of Winterfell's walls. So they need to be up on the walls, throwing bits of dragon glass down into the army of the dead. Okay, so missile weapons, spears, primarily arrows from archers, but where we've run out of bows, everybody else needs to be equipped with spears or just stones of dragon glass. Okay, and then for hand-to-hand combat, pikemen, mostly of course Grey Worm's army. and Daenerys' army, equipped with pikes and shields, nice long spears with obsidian on the end where possible, and with shields with obsidian glued on the front. And there we go, we're going to win. Winterfell will stand. There is nothing the Army of the Dead can do to defeat my absolute match-winning formula there for how to defeat the, I won't call them zombies, but the Whites and the White Walkers that are coming to try and take Winterfell. How are they going to do that? The only possible way Winterfell could fall is if they do something really stupid, like put their army outside of the castle. Why have a castle and then put your army outside the castle? That's not what castles are for, but they wouldn't be that stupid, would they? And surely they're going to seal up the crypts. Anyway, we're going to find out tonight. I'll enjoy watching it with the rest of you, and let me know what you think about your ideas underneath this video of how you think Winterfell should be defended, what your match-winning tactic strategy is for defeating the Army of the Dead and for saving all of our favourite characters in Game of Thrones from grisly deaths. And if you found this video interesting, as well as dropping a comment underneath, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you're interested in more videos about Game of Thrones, but also other fantasy series as well, and TV series, and movie fight reviews. And I'll see you really soon for another video. Cheers, folks! Thanks for watching. We've got extra videos on Patreon. Please give our Facebook a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers, folks.